Okay, let me just check. Okay. Let's let's take a look then. We're going to ask Dr. Barrett to read the second reading. We'll ask Anaki to read the first reading. Andrea is going to be sharing with us this morning and leading us in the final prayer. Andrea, by the way, I don't know if you knew this. Andrea is a vet, was in the Army, and her wife was in the Army as well. Ren was in the Army as well. Um, and we're gonna go that. Any other announcements? Oh, I know. I want to remind you all. Um, it's weird. Memorial Day is always to me the end of May. We still got a week to go. I want to remind everybody that do not forget we are year round. We do not slough off in the summer. Connections continues to meet twice a month. Book club meets every Saturday. Services are here. Pastoral care is here. And remind you all that if you're doing something with social justice, please share it. Today is Geek Pride Day. Geek Pride Day. Okay, I lost that one. Geek Pride Day.
I'm down with that.
Geek Friday. Okay, this weekend is one of those weekends when I'm more okay with that than most. Okay, so that's we got Bobby Vance is with us. Bobby Vance had a birthday this week. It is true that he is born several times, and his first birth date was 4,722 BCE in what is now called Kazakhstan. And I'm going to pay for that too. I'm on a roll today. Andrea is going, didn't they teach you not to do this to your congregants? Andrea's looking, you never passed the MFC. Yes. All right. So good morning, everybody. Good morning. Um, we're lighting the memorial candle. Later on, we'll light a memorial candle for veterans, but in our prayer. But we want to remind everybody that we have right now in this country an incredible upside down of Christian and other values. I noticed, I don't know if you ever noticed this, that Jesus did not play golf in an exclusive country club. Um, Jesus did not ride the most exquisite stallion ever. He walked most of his life. He did not wear Savile Row bespoke suits. He wore a very plain garment. And most of the people he were with were very, very poor, had no social advocates. And we are seeing a great push on Christianity, but what Christianity they're talking about, I have no idea, none whatsoever. For the poor in our country and every country, for those who find it hard to eat, to have a meal, for those who find medicine is just too expensive, for all of those, and many of our citizens fall into those categories. I like this prayer that we keep them close, the poor and the unfortunate, the sick, the suffering, the tempted and bereaved, the forgotten and lonely. We light this candle, may it be so. Our introit, O Death, by Ralph Stanley. You'd be kind enough to join me in the call to worship for those who would read with me. In honor of those we have known and loved in the past, in recognition of the gifts and sacrifices they have made on our behalf, and in our sincere hopes that we may be worthy of their memory, we light our candles, we give our thanks, and we offer our prayers. And for those who wish, if you'd be saying the morning prayer with me, gracious God, living Spirit of love, give to me compassion steeled with commitment, that I might become your peace given in loving sacrifice to our troubled world. Amen.
Reading from In Memoriam, Ring Out Wild Bells by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Ring out a slowly dying cause, in ancient forms of party strife. Ring in the nobler modes of life, with the sweeter manners, pure laws. Ring in the valiant, human and free, the larger heart, the kindler hand. The kindler hand. Ring out the darkness of the land. Ring out the promise that is to be.
Our responsive reading, I'd ask you all to read in green. Deliver us, O God, from self-righteousness that will not compromise, from selfishness that gains by oppressing others. Deliver us from all that creates division, from the lust for money or power that kills, from trusting in the weapons of war, from mistrusting lasting peace. Deliver us into mercy, compassion, and joy, from speaking, hearing, and believing lies, from all the suspicions and fears that prevent reconciliation, from all the words and deeds that encourage discord, prejudice, and hatred, from everything that prevents us from fulfilling the promises of peace. Deliver us.
Peace Without Victory. Excerpt from a speech to Congress by President Woodrow Wilson, 22nd of January, 1917. The terms of the immediate peace will determine the whole future peace and policy of the world. Is the present war a struggle for a just and secure peace, or only for a new balance of power? If it be only a struggle for a new balance of power, who can guarantee the stable equilibrium of the new arrangement? There must be a balance of power, but a community of power, not organized rivalries, but an organized common peace. It must be a peace without victory. Victory would mean peace forced upon the loser, a victor's terms imposed upon the vanquished. It would be accepted in humiliation, under duress, at an intolerable sacrifice, and would leave a sting, a resentment, a bitter memory upon which terms of peace would rest, not permanently, but only as upon quicksand. Only a peace between equals can last. Only a peace, the very principle of which is equality and common participation. The right state of mind, the right feeling between nations is necessary for a lasting peace.
Former American poet laureate Joy Harjo included this poem in her book, Conflict Resolution for Holy Beings. When we made it back home, back over those curved roads that wind through the city of peace, we stopped at the doorway of dusk as it opened to our homelands. We gave thanks for the story, for all parts of the story, because it was by the light of those challenges we knew ourselves. We asked for forgiveness. We laid down our burdens next to each other. Ms. Harjo's writing is about her cultural experiences as a Native American. At the same time, she is writing to non-natives about the legacy we have wrought. There's a third layer there too, a layer of what it means to live with the history and heritage of violence, how the road through and into a world of reconciliation and recovery is built by community. The first time I met him, my father-in-law asked me if I had served in the military. Now, he already knew the answer to that question, given that a big part of my spouse and I's initial connection was the shared history of military service. Same branch, same job, wildly different missions. And I, in turn, knew that he was a Vietnam veteran who, like most of the Vietnam veterans I had known over the years, didn't talk about it. So I told him who I had served with. F Company, 52nd Infantry Long Range Surveillance, Fort Lewis, Washington. His eyes flared in surprise for the briefest of moments, and he looked at me in that craggy way of an ancient wizard contemplating whether or not to force feed someone a fireball, and said simply, "Huh." And I let it go for about 3 minutes. "How many unit citations did you wear?" he asked. "3 meritorious," I replied. "We didn't wear the presidential, but flew it in our colors." "Vietnam, yes?" "Yes, Vietnam. All 3 were from 67 to 69. "Do you know why you wore them?" he asked. I said, "They told us a story about defending a bridge." And he nodded. "Let me tell you the rest of the story." And he did. He told me all the parts of that story, finally laying down his burden next to me. And I, to this day, give thanks for it. An image was circulating on social media a week or two ago. It featured a middle-aged man wearing a camouflage hat and an overcoat in a PetSmart. He has 2 corgis straining their leashes in that way that only a short-legged, fluffy-butt dog can. And the back of his coat has an image of the modern American soldier holding his rifle at the ready position, with text that reads, "Don't think that because I am peaceful, I forgot how to be violent." And his hat has the usual collection of military-related pens on it, which does seem to be a calling card among veterans of a certain age. And you have to understand, I found that image on one of those, quote, "let's bash someone" and their followers pages. And when I shared it sans that particular commentary. My commentary was in part an ongoing conversation with my community about how veterans, especially those of us who train for or experience direct combat, have wildly different views on our collective work to move the moral arc of the universe. Peace, for that gentleman in the picture and for many of us, is a work in progress. Unlearning reactivity, unlearning hyper-awareness, living with post-traumatic stress disorder, all of this and more factor into why he is holding corgis at leash length in a random PetSmart. He, like my Vietnam-era father-in-law, does not ever want to talk about what they saw, what they did, and they likely pray every day they never become that person again. Which doesn't change the training. It's still there. Those impulses are still there. They are hardwired. The trauma is still there. And that makes choosing the path of peace the hard choice. And for many of us, it's the only choice left. It's easy to stay in the warrior mindset. Hate is easy, but it will kill you. Love is hard. Peace is harder because that starts inside and flows outward. And yes, the same reason he wears that jacket a warning, the same reason he wears that hat with those pins is the same reason why there is a winged death spade on my own Army veteran hat. I may have chosen a path of peace, but that does not change the immediacy of the training for war. Whether it's reverting to combat medicine tactics in an emergency, or my preternatural ability to clear communications in moments of extreme stress, the training for war is never far away, and the work of transforming it into good is ongoing. Every day, every single day, 22 veterans lose their private wars with PTSD. This is the invisible war. It is the collective toll of injury upon the veteran, whether it's physical, mental, psychological, or spiritual. We all have a call to fight this trend by working with established agencies, foundations, and just by checking in with the veterans you already know. Those type of check-ins don't need to be focused on the heavy stuff, but a check-in on how their life is going. Where are their stress points? Where are their pain points? Where is the celebration? And how can we help? Project 214, named for the form that every veteran receives upon discharge, aims to ensure that no veteran is ever buried without military honors. And that happens far more than you would think, given the percentage and frequency of homeless veterans. The Wounded Warrior Project and the Military Veteran Project all contribute to this work, but institutions have trouble seeing the individual. Same with the VA. This, however, is something we can do for each other. And I know it works, because a year and a half ago, someone did it for us and changed everything. The Roman general Renatus wrote in his landmark treatise on strategy, Si vis pacem para bellum. If you want peace, prepare for war. This is a logical philosophy from a military first viewpoint. We are not a military. We do not have a military first viewpoint. We are not posturing for conflict, conquest, and domination. Our trade is not death. Our path is different. Our path is inverted from the one that Renatus walked. So instead, on this Memorial Day, I will offer you this: ad bellum sustendum pacem fove. If you want to stop war, foster peace. Not birth it, not create it, foster it. Make the world around you full of soil that the seeds of peace and justice can root in. Reach out, grow peace inside and out. Give those who have chosen the path to peace reasons to continue. Give those who have not reasons to choose it. Worry less about the universe's arc and more about the folks you see every day. Foster peace, foster love, foster justice. This is the call of today's invisible war. Ad bellum sustendum pace fove. If you want to stop war, foster peace. Selah.
Most people are not aware that the place in which Jesus lived and the time in which he lived was incredibly violent. The reprisals of the Roman army against those who did not want the Roman army or Roman rule were vicious, quick, and often. The penultimate disaster ends in 70 CE with the destruction of Jerusalem, the destruction of the temple, and 1 million to 1.5 million inhabitants dead. Almost all of Jewish Christianity perished. And one of the factors that I find fascinating is you get churches singing with great gusto, "Onward, Christian soldiers!" The early Christians were pacifists. Andrea's share was almost as if she were there. They talked about peace, love, and justice. And in the face of brutality and terror, peace, love, and justice. We offer this simple bread, simple unleavened bread, on a simple ceramic plate, a simple cup, offering on this Memorial Day a pledge to try to make this every day, that we foster these, not just in word, but in deed. peace, love, and justice. Welcome all fellow pilgrims as we try our best. Amen. Words that come to mind from our resident theologian, Winnie the Pooh. They really are appropriate, aren't they? Repeat after me if you would. Promise me you'll remember. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think. God didn't promise days without pain, laughter without sorrows, sun without rain. And please repeat after me, but the divine did promise strength for the day, comfort for the tears, and light for the way. And Andrea, if you'd lead us in our final prayer.
Join me in the spirit of meditation and prayer as you are willing or able. Most holy God, known by so many names and none, let us be creators of the way forward, nurturers of understanding and compassion, enders of hostility and aggression. Let us be as strong in unity as we were in despondence. Let us remember those for whom the war was yesterday, and for those who still live it. Let us remember the dead, for in living do we show our gratitude. Let us be bridge builders and waymakers, pathfinders for justice and peace. Selah.
Please stay after the blessing for hello and goodbye. As is All Souls, a blessing of ancient Irish and ancient Hindu. And now may the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May the rains fall softly upon your fields. And when we meet again, may the divine in me greet and embrace the divine in you. May it be so. Amen. Thank you very, very much, Andrea. Thank you. And we have again, we want to say hello to Tracy, Dr. Barrett from Orlando, Naki from Georgia. Andrea's out in Elgin. Bobby Vance, who had an interesting birthday in Kissimmee. Nick is in Miami. Felix is up in North Miami, as is Chris Diaz in North Miami. Pam Gray is one of ours in Forest Hills, as is Danny Sorkin in Forest Hills, and Pat Sullivan in Forest Hills. Chris Diaz in North Miami. Alan Brackett down in Biscayne Boulevard. Maureen Sullivan is out by Farm Country. Ray Roldan in Washington Heights with his cats. Cindy and Larry Deach in Port Orange. Pat can care here. Gail and Tom in Port Orange as well. Chris and John Sloan in Port Orange. What a wild, wild mix. Blessings, blessings to you all. Coming up in June, Kenneth will be with us to talk, to some rattle us around with God talk. Tell me about the God you don't believe in. Neither do I. What does that mean? And also let us remember Bobby Vance is on in the second time in June. We do not stop for the summer. We are here to take care of each other year round. Blessings and peace to you all.